We have today an absolute legend, the great Michael Rapaport.
Actor, director, and popular podcast host. You know him from Boston Public, Justified, and insulting your favorite sports team. Please welcome Michael Rapaport.
I've gotten in so much trouble on social media. I've been suspended on all platforms. My courtside seats have been taken away from me, Sage, because I've said things about the ownership of the Knicks. I just can't rock with Dillon.
I understand that you wanted to be a basketball player yourself. Yes. What happened?
Just being slow and Jewish.
He dated Phoebe on Friends, a true romance.
Book has balls, sports rants from the MVP of talking trash.
I am a different person since October 7th. Jews are still hated and disrespected so deeply. I wasn't aware of that.
I know you beautiful people are thinking about the hostages in Gaza all the time. You just won't speak up about them. If Hamas would have attacked Israel and kidnapped all the dolphins, you'd be wearing dolphin helmets and throwing tuna fish at the podium. And God forbid Hamas would have raped the gender pay gap. Oh man, Julia Roberts would have ran into Gaza herself with an AK-47.
The FDR Drive?
It's a fucking shit show.
You need to wear a helmet. You need like one of those ATV things. My father talked to me about the anti-Semitism that he dealt with. He talked about just not being a Jew. Be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed of being Jewish. And that stuck with me very deeply.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Mislabeled. We have a fantastic guest today, but before we get started, if you can please like, subscribe, and comment, would mean the world. Obviously, we're working very, very hard. Okay, so we have today with us an absolute legend, actor, comedian, podcast host, the great Michael Rapaport.
Thank you.
Specifically, I just want to give a big shout out, by the way, to your podcast because they're the host of where you host all your rants.
Yes.
And that is, I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast.
Yes.
And Rapaport's Reality.
Yes.
And for anyone that knows anything about Michael, his rants are some of the most epic rants on the internet. Full stop, really. And they take place on I Am Rapaport.
Yes,
Stereo
and on
Podcast.
YouTube at Michael Rapaport, and that's where they all live. Uncensored.
How long have you been going on these rants for at this point? Like, when did you first just totally say, like, I'm out, like I'm doing my thing?
Well, I would probably say, first of all, thanks for having me. I'd probably say the first, the first rant that I did that was not about sports or pop culture, anything sort of mundane. The first rant that I did that was about anything social, certainly pro-Jewish, anti-Semitism, was in 2016, August of 2016, when the Charlottesville situation had happened, when the Tiki Torch boys went down to Charlottesville, and they were saying, "You will not replace us. Jews will not replace us." And the next morning, which was a Saturday morning, I was in LA. I was just like, "This is not good." And 2016, it's not that long ago, but in social media times, it's very long ago. So I just picked up my phone. I was like, it was hot. It was summertime. I was in LA. I was walking my dog, and just sweating, and just went off about that. And because I was offended by it, I was concerned by the open anti-Semitism. That was sort of the first time that I said something publicly on social media that was sort of caught people's attention. But ever since I've had in my podcast, I've talked about things if they get my attention. But that would be the first specific thing. And then there was a lot of stuff during Trump's first regime, and then the Kanye West stuff was very, like, the first. He's still doing it to this day, which is insane. That he's on any platform. It's crazy that he's on any platform.
What's your take as far as censorship, let's say, with a guy like Kanye? Obviously, free speech and that.
I think free speech is important. I think that there needs to be more strikes given. Like, you could say what you want, but there has to be some sort of strikes. It gets murky, it gets tricky, and all that. I've gotten in so much trouble on social media. I've been suspended, literally. I've been suspended on all platforms where my account is shut down for 30 days. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, where it's like your account is done for 2 weeks, 30 days. I once did 150 days in Facebook solitary confinement for an incident. So I think it's important to let people talk, but also we don't need to hear another Kanye West anti-Semitic thing. Like, we don't need to, like, that shit is just, it for me, like, I'm like Elon Musk, I'm like, fuck this guy. Fuck him. Get him off my fucking place. Dirt. He's shit. The anti-Jewishness that he talks, yeah, he's mentally ill, obviously, whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Take a walk.
No, for sure. I
At a certain point, it's like, what is the free speech? Because if you were doing as much anti-black stuff, Jew this, Jew that, if it was, gay this, gay that, or black this, black that, or I just feel like you wouldn't be on the platform. So obviously,
the question is if on X that would be true.
Say it again.
The question is if on X, if you were saying, anti-black stuff.
I don't.
Or
Yeah, it's true. Because
shit.
X is a free for all. Yeah. X is porn. It's disgusting. Yeah. X is a free for all. So I think it's good and bad, but I wish there was a platform for like, where I don't know, you pay $1 a month, $2 a month, something where it's just like the Drek and the robots. I want verified accounts. The amount of fucking
bots.
The amount of bots and Squidward avatars and Michael Jordan crying faces on. It's just like, I want to talk, like, show your face. Just show who you are and you can say whatever you want. And then, like, I do it.
Yeah.
And I got more to risk than 99.9% of the people on social media. You see who I am. The camera's in front of my face. So you're talking shit to me, but you're,
an internet troll in the basement somewhere.
Show your face.
Does it not concern you on a significant level, right? I think everyone is sitting here looking at the anti-Semitism that has happened since October 7th and, getting very concerned about that. At least I am. Mm-hmm. But for someone like you that's actually been paying attention to it since 2016, so you've seen this evolution now. Which I didn't think about going that far back, but it sounds like you have. And you've seen this evolution now going, 10 years.
Yeah.
Close to 10 years at this point. It seems like this is headed very much in the wrong direction.
The anti-Semitism, the anti-Jewishness, the anti-Zionism, I refer to it as all anti-Jewishness, so the people in the back don't misconstrued. It's all about not liking, hating, not supporting Jews. Anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, they sound a little exotic. It's anti-Jewishness. It's extremely concerning. It's extremely concerning in New York. It's extremely concerning all over the world. It's disgusting on social media. And it's an incredible time. It's an incredible time to be Jewish. But yeah, it is concerning. The mainstream media, the CNNs, the MSNBC, the 60 Minutes. How many mistakes can you possibly make? How many times do you have to correct yourself? How many fuck ups? You're the top of the top. How many fuck ups can you continue to make, and then you have to fix it? The New York Times. So I feel like at a certain point, it's not.
Well, I think you're giving them the benefit of the doubt by saying it's a fuck up.
It's not a fuck up, but then they fix it or they correct themselves and all that stuff. So it's not a fuck up, but it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time, and it's a crazy time to be Jewish. It's a crazy time to be Zionist. October 7th, I was talking yesterday to somebody. I have changed. I don't know how I have changed yet. I think that's to be determined, but I am a different person since October 7th. And what I've experienced and what I've gone through is minuscule compared to the people whose families have been destroyed. Obviously, the hostages, the hostage families, the IDF soldiers and their families, the injured IDF soldiers, and the people that made it out of October 7th with nightmarish stories, but that were physically untouched. The anti-Semitism, the anti-Jewishness all over the world, it has affected all of us. But for me, I am changed. I don't know how yet because I feel like we're still in it. I think it is to be determined, but it is affecting me.
Seeing the moment of full reflection of like looking back and seeing exactly what caused that change, like you haven't figured that out yet, but when things settle down, you're gonna just like, you think it's gonna become clear to you, like sort of what exactly caused that level of change.
Yes. I mean, obviously I have an idea. I don't know what the change is yet, but obviously, you know, what happened and the reality and for me, the awakening of the reality and the awakening and the realization that Jews are still so hated and disliked and disrespected so deeply is something that at 53 was when 2023 October, so I was 53, now I'm 55. It's crazy that time has spanned this much. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't realize that because, you know, growing up the way I grew up in New York City, I didn't deal with
the blatantness of the anti-Semitism.
I had none.
The clear, just
Yeah, I mean, anti-Semitism wasn't something that I dealt with
growing up.
growing up. No, it wasn't something that was a part of my life.
You know, it's interesting. They say, you know, there's a famous line: money doesn't make you, doesn't change you. It just brings out who you already were. Right. So if you're a good person, then you make money, you'll do good things. If you're a shitty person and then you make money, you become an even shittier person. It's just exposed. I feel like October 7th was very much that. There were a lot of anti-Semites that were just holding all that shit in before October 7th. They just didn't have a way to say it because they would have been, you know, admonished. And immediately after October 7th, it was the perfect gateway for them to jump out into the scene and spew all that shit that they've been holding on to.
Yeah.
You know, we passed them in the street, you know, whether it's here or New York or wherever it is for that matter, and we never knew, you know, what a lot of these people were thinking. And then they have the opportunity to start talking and blame it on some other thing and not, you know, come clean about what it really is.
Yep.
And the second they were able to do that, boom. And you know,
I agree.
I told someone,
And it is a gateway.
huge gateway.
And I think a lot of, you know, and a lot of it is because it's the last acceptable form of hate. You can't talk this shit about black people. You can't talk this shit about gay people, LGBTQ. You can't talk about short people, tall people. The last sort of acceptable form of open disdain, hate, bigotry is the Jews. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as you know, and everybody knows, we control everything. So to have that, since we do control everything, the weather, the government, Hollywood, the world, you know, like the weather, of course, is number
huge.
one. I mean, we could say that because we
Don't say it publicly, Michael.
no, but we know we do control the weather, and since we control the weather and everything else, to be openly hated and to have it to be acceptable is astonishing.
It's also astonishing because we make sure that the weather is beautiful in Florida all year round. So you can why don't you just move to Florida and you'll get great weather the whole year?
Florida, you get great weather. There's so many places where you get great weather. Like, what's the fucking problem? What is the problem?
No, I was thinking something last night.
We can't make it all great all the way around. We don't want to give everything
away.
You know, show our card. It's got to get cold, you know, and stuff like that. Even in New York, Jaime Town, as Jesse Jackson once infamously called it. You know, we make it cold, but we control New York City perfectly, you know, and everything about it, top to bottom.
It's unreal. I think that's the nature of conspiracy theory, which I'll actually get to that in a second. But for anyone that doesn't know you, which I don't think that there are many that are watching this, but just I do want to give a little background.
Okay.
You know, first of all, you're a New York City kid through
Yes.
and through, right? Where did you grow up exactly? New
Grew
York?
up in Manhattan, on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
You grew up. What was your family like? Were you guys religious in any way?
No.
Did you go to Jewish day
We
school?
are
of any sorts?
true blue bagel and lox
Katz's
Jews.
Deli.
I mean, straight up, like, couldn't be more like of that sort of what that means to Jewish people. Meaning, my father is 91; he's still alive. 92, you know, he was obviously bar mitzvah. My mother's Jewish from Lawrence, Long Island.
Oh wow, that's my neck of the woods.
My brother went to Hebrew school. I didn't go to Hebrew school. My parents were divorced very young, when I was young, and the practice of being Jewish was not a big part of my entire family. But there was pride, you know, and there was I was very aware of it. And like I said, my brother went to Hebrew school. I thought I was going to be in the NBA. I could not afford to give up my practice of Wednesdays and Sundays. I had to practice because I was going to be in the NBA, which is a reasonable dream.
Were you a real deal ball player?
You know, I mean, it was a real deal ball player until I got with real deal ball players.
Right.
So
When was that?
Say it again.
When was that? In college?
I'd say, but no. When I was 15, I started going to these camps, these summer camps, with like all stars.
Elite.
So I was in there with like Sean Kemp. I was in there with like
really?
Billy Owens, played ball with Kenny Anderson, And like, you know, the difference, it happens quickly. And like puberty, when that happens, you see like
disparity.
This is a different thing. This is a whole different thing.
We are not in their league when it comes to just athleticism. Even like
not natural.
Whenever, no, not at all. Like here and there, you have like a white guy that could play in their space, but otherwise, straight facts, like we're not gifted.
Well, the Ashkenazi Jew is not meant to be dunking.
We have zero hops, like zero
running fast. I mean, there's a few that you know crack through.
Our space is controlling the weather. That's our space.
We do weather. We do controlling government, Hollywood,
real estate.
You know, real estate. You know, the lights. I can, if I wanted to. I don't want to show it on camera. If I wanted to shut the lights, the electricity in this building, I could do it. It's just like I could snap my fingers, I could do a certain cluck thing with my mouth, which I won't do because I don't want the lights. I could shut this whole thing down because as a Jewish person, we have a control over all these.
We
things.
can't play ball though. That's for sure.
We can't play.
We could shoot. No, we could shoot a little bit.
We could shoot. We could shoot if
little JJ Redick.
Yes, little JJ Redick, who's definitely not Jewish, but yes, 100%.
We still shoot the ball.
Yes, but yes, I mean, that was my upbringing, you know, but and as far as like my Jewish identity as a kid was very little,
right.
But there was pride, and my father talked to me about the anti-Semitism that he dealt with. He was born in 1933.
Oh wow.
So you know he was dealing with all kinds of stuff, and you know he talked to me about just not being a pussy Jew. And when I was younger, it meant like, you know, to stand up for yourself. But the real thing was just to be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed of being Jewish. And that stuck with me very deeply.
Right.
It stuck with me very deeply. You know, and then when I started, you know, acting, you know, that was something that was in my head too, because my father never liked the stereotypes that are put out there. In a lot of you know, actors and performers, and
Which stereotype specifically?
He didn't like the nebbishy, neurotic, scared, sexless, you know, hunched over, you know,
keep head down.
Woody Allen, Larry David type of
Larry
persona.
David, don't even go there. That fucking
he didn't like that, and he said, well, you know, don't do that. Don't just do that. You know, as if I could, you know, pick and choose every single role that I wanted to. But it stuck in my head, and you know, and I've always been prideful. You know, there were certain things that were going on. As you get older, you're more reflective. My wife converted to Judaism. She started her conversion probably 2019, and that was you know, on her own.
wow.
And our first thing, obviously, I said to her was, "Why? Like, why are you doing this?
Why would you do this to yourself?"
Yeah, and then you know, like by the time October 7th happened, I was ready to go, but the experience and the journey through me has been like I feel different now, but the beginning of it was like this.
Yeah.
That's how, like, that was, if I
Taking
did like
it
my
back.
thing, like my sort of like my meme would be like, oh shit, October 7th, I was like that. And I was also like that. Now I understand everything crystal clear. It crystal clear.
What's the clarity specifically that you'd say you understand now?
Well, why it happened, why it happened is crystal clear, and the understanding that Israel was attacked 10 hours after the announcement of the state and has been fighting ever since.
Yeah.
And that there is no two-state solution, and we were attacked because they don't want us to exist. There's no deal that can be made. Yeah. There's no negotiating. There's no land. There's no money. There's no peace. There's no release of a savage terrorist. They don't want us to exist. Hamas and the other 7 fronts, they don't want us to exist. They don't want us to be there. And they live it and breathe it. They say it and they prove it. A lot of us, some of us have, but a lot of us never took it as serious as it should have been taken.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
I think what people don't refuse to believe is that this is...
It sounds so fucking nuts. That's why. Also, it sounds crazy.
Yes. It happens to be, I'm not, the person who explained this best in this particular case was actually Sam Harris. I'm not claiming to be the #1 Sam Harris guy, especially of late. But he has said certain things on this topic that is crystallizes it so clearly.
What about it for you? Like, what did he say specifically?
Well, he takes you through it in a very slow way. He's like, the basic idea that he said, like one of the ideas he was saying was, Israel and the Jews are in a lose-lose. The more heinous the terrorist attack, typically the more heinous an attack, the more the response is from the average normal person as well. These people are really fucked up. In this particular case, the more heinous the attack, the more the onus goes on Israel. It's like the more the occupation is making these people do this.
Right.
So it's deeply dysfunctional. There's nothing that they can do that will show their deeply fucked up mentality.
Right.
Because the more deeply fucked up they are,
Because why would they do it?
right, otherwise.
They must have, something must have brought them to this point.
Right.
No, what brought them to the point is 78 years of this shit, and before that, but specifically in regards to Gaza, what brought them to this point is 78 years of not wanting the people that are next to you to be there, to exist.
Yeah.
Period. And that's why I tweet this often. Name one thing in 78 years that has come out of Gaza that has helped the world. Name one invention, science, one person, an athlete, artist. Nothing has come out of there because the entire existence.
So what will they say the reason is? Because
I don't get a fucking answer.
No, say the occupation.
Okay,
That's the.
Okay, there's oppression all over the world. The oppression is. Great things have come from.
They don't have a Nelson Mandela.
There's
that's for
not.
sure.
They have not one thing has happened because it's so infected by hate.
So people think it's.
Talk about the occupation is the occupation of the mind. That's the occupation. Is the occupation of the mind of Jews in Israel existing.
Yeah.
That's the fucking occupation that they haven't looked at.
Yeah, I think that people refuse to believe, at least on this time, people refuse to believe that this has nothing to do with land. This is an ideological war. It's a religious-based war, and that's why, in my opinion, the opportunity for peace is, again, what's driving them to want no Jew to exist? It's Islam,
Right.
and their religious beliefs.
Right.
That's what's driving them. So in every other conflict, eventually you make peace because it's not a religious component. You say, okay, enough is enough. But like even on the Jewish side, let's just say, right, we have our own. People that are bad apples, so to speak.
Of course.
So we definitely
I
have
have to
those.
acknowledge that. Like,
Yeah.
Israel's imperfect.
I'm not even talking within Israel, but yes.
Jews, Israel, me, you, New York City, the United States government, my father, my mother, my kids, my wife, everything and everybody is imperfect, including Jews in Israel.
Yeah. So, but in the specifics of, even in our world, we have far right-wing religious zealots, if you want. I don't know what you want to call them.
Yes.
Who you
Whack
cannot
jobs.
speak. You cannot speak. Have a normal motherfucking conversation with these
Yeah.
people because they are so captured by the religious ideology that you can't reason with them.
Yes.
Right. And religion is a very powerful drug. If used properly, will bring you tremendous happiness. If not used properly, it'll have you hijack a plane and fly it into a building and kill 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And there's no logical way to explain the motivation to hijack a plane and fly it at 600 miles an hour into a building. No logical explanation other than Allahu Akbar, Islam.
Yep.
That's the only thing that could convince someone, right, of that deep of a passion and a belief to go into that. And this is a lot of Sam Harris. He explains it very well. I'll send you one of his podcasts afterwards that is extremely succinct. He breaks it down as like a 30-minute thing. It's such a, and a lot of people also don't understand, honestly, the facts about the religion, the specifics of Islam and what like real Islamists believe. We just understand that on a very surface-based level.
Yeah.
Of just like, they commit terrorist attacks or whatever in the name of Allah. But there's very specific, Sam goes through all these things. Elika Laban, who I had on the podcast, also
She's great.
She's fantastic. She also, but there's a lot of knowledge there that just us average people don't know. The same way that average non-Jews don't know our intricacies of our religion.
Yes.
Right. So because they don't understand that, they just see, I don't know, us wearing a shtreimel, a big fur hat. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Fine, it's a religious thing, you know. But like the specifics of this, and so once you start understanding the specifics, I just think it sheds a tremendous amount of light on like, okay, this is a really big fucking problem that we have on our hands, you know?
Yeah.
And doesn't mean they're all bad. There's the ones that are the same way we have far right wings, except our far right wing are not, flying planes into buildings. That's the big difference. God Saad, by the way, also amazing. Listen,
Not Wilf has been a huge inspiration to me. Doc, you ever read her stuff?
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Her name is Inat Wilf.
No, I haven't heard her stuff.
She's
Claire.
She's written this book called The War of Return, and just her writings and her other book. She's just brilliant.
I'll say another thing.
I love her.
Yeah. I'll say another thing that I've been realizing lately. The real war that we're in right now, and by the way, I tried getting on X probably 15 different times. The 13th time was when Elon bought it. I'm like, I hated the interface. When Elon bought it, I'm like, I'm an Elon guy. Like, thank you, Elon. I love you. I'm getting on this train. I'm downloading it again just for you. Right? Not that I get whatever. Fine. I'm a supporter. Still couldn't get over. 14th time. The 15th time it stuck. Now I'm an X guy. Right? Formerly known as Twitter, which will always be forever.
Yes. I call it Twitter.
Yeah. And you call it Twitter still. You're still on the Twitter. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he's ever going to be able to fully change that.
Yeah.
But what I realized is what this really comes down to is a war of ideas, period, a war of information in this world. Who you listen to in life determines your life. It's actually the most influential and imperative aspect of growing up and just even as an adult, right? If you listen to a good person and believe that person, you'll have a great life. If you listen to shitty advice from a terrible person, you'll have a really shitty life. So it's all about what we consume, right? And believe as people. So if we're consuming that Jews are terrible people, right? And, whichever level of bigotry it is from whichever side, and we're believing that because, the radio waves, so to speak, are flooding with that. So then the war of ideas is simply fighting, we have the good side and the bad side, the evil side and the good. So the question is, which side are you going to buy into? And I really think that that's like the number one fight. Like even let's say Joe Rogan, right? He has on, which, whatever, there's what to talk about there at this point, but he has on, right?
One scumbag after the other scumbag after another conspiracy theorist after another conspiracy theorist. I respect Joe Rogan. You can't not respect him. But it's been, and the whole Douglas Murray and the other guy,
Dave Smith,
whatever the fuck his name
Capo.
Is he Jewish?
He claims he is. I don't know. I mean, he's saying he is. I don't know if I would think that that's true, just because I kind of would be shocked if he's lying. Like that's
who gives a shit.
Yeah,
he's a fuck. But I feel like the whole Douglas Murray, why he went there with Dave Smith. I don't know if what the deal was that part of the deal. We'll have you on if you're with Dave Smith and all that.
That's what it sounded like. Murray said that.
Yeah,
and Joe didn't deny it after Murray said that like a week or two ago.
It's been imbalanced, but the one it's been imbalanced since October 7th, and you have people floating things and saying things and floating things and saying things and floating things and saying things, and then you get Douglas Murray and he's got to sit there and debate while Joe is like his goon, his bodyguard, his mediator, his lawyer with this fucking guy.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Joe Rogan thing is Joe Rogan's an expert on MMA, fighting. If I came on there and said to Joe Rogan, "Hey Joe, listen, I never fought MMA, but me and my brother, we used to wrestle and we used to pillow fight, and he would always use the heavy pillow, and every now and then he'd knock the shit out of me with the heavy pillow. I got this idea for MMA. Check it out. We'd also play the choke out game when we were teenagers. My brother would choke me out, and they'd be like, "You okay?" And then we'd continue fighting. I think, Joe, you're Mr. MMA. I've never fought. I've never trained. I've never been in an MMA ring, but my brother did choke me out once playfully. In MMA, these guys are the best of the best. When a guy gets choked out, tap him awake. If he wants to keep fighting, let him keep fighting. Who knows what could happen? You know what he would say? Get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. Have you ever been in a fight? No. Have you ever been choked out? No. But this is my idea. This is the kind of scumbags he has on his show, floating ideas about more serious things at a sensationally serious time.
Yeah.
And it's unacceptable, and it's disgusting, and I can't fuck with it. I can't fuck with it. I can't respect it that he has one person on there after another person on there after that fat fuck Tim Dillon, and he's
Tim Dillon is Jewish, by the way. That I mean, you're a comedian, you know that.
Is he Jewish?
I have 90? I thought 99% sure.
You know, you're a Jew, not a Jew.
He was
like,
on with Candace also.
Right.
Just yesterday.
Right.
2 days ago.
Right. And it's like,
So
you're
Tim
sitting-
Dillon, I have more respect, sorry for Dave Smith. Tim Dillon really doesn't know the first motherfucking thing about anything that's going on in the middle. Like, the fact he was giving any sort of serious opinion, which he was on the Candace episode, at least from...
Why are you with Candace Owens?
Yeah. I don't
Why are you standing next to this bitch?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like he's doing it to promote his thing. There's other places to promote. Why are you with this fucking this animal? This Jew-hating fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. Like Tim Dillon's like, you know, like I get it. We all want our people, our shows to get out there and sell and success. There's so many platforms to go to. You don't have to go to every.
Who are you to
single-
say that she's a Jew-hating scumbag? She just hates that Israel's killing
Right.
children.
I don't know what the fuck happened with her and Ben Shapiro, but once she left the Daily Wire, it was like a new
Hold
person.
on. I wrote on Twitter a few different times. I said, every single day that Candace gets on the airwaves right now, she does Ben Shapiro the biggest favor by proving him right. Ben Shapiro, there was this whole fight before. Ben was obviously picking up very, very clearly of what her motives were, and she was just asking questions at this time. She was under this contract.
I'm going to ask a question. Where's Candace Owens' husband? Where is this fucking guy? Come get your fucking girl. That's a question. And she said she's a Christian. I think she's a Christian in name only. Because what kind of Christian would be so hateful and vile all the fucking time? So they say rhinos, Republicans.
Yeah.
I made up C-No. Christian in name only. I don't believe you're really truly a Christian because you're a hateful, nasty fucking.
She's very vindictive.
Nasty, vindictive motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, somebody like Tim Dillon, I'm like, just by sitting down with her, it's like if some KKK guy had a podcast. It's damn near close with some of these pieces of shit that have, with the Jake Shields and these other people and the Blazarians.
Did you see who's taking her over now for a podcast when she's on maternity leave? Ian Carroll.
Of course.
Did you know this? He's taking over a show. That's a real thing. At least I saw.
She's having another kid?
Yeah, Yeah.
Where's her husband?
That's a great question.
Where is this fucking guy?
Well, people say that he's the reason why she became so.
Who is that scumbag?
anti-Israel, 'cause
Who's her
he's very
fucking husband?
Catholic.
He's very Catholic, and you let your fucking wife run around like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Come get your fucking girl. Come get your fucking girl. You don't need to have more kids with that fucking nasty fake. C-No, Christian in name only.
I'm with you. That's a great.
I patent that.
You should patent. That's actually
And I got a
trademark.
Jewish lawyer. I patented trademark. I'll sue you if you use it.
I fucking love it. All right, everybody, want to take a quick second to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this episode, CUBX. CUBX is, as far as I'm concerned, the #1 IT provider for businesses, whether that be big or small, real estate, healthcare, finance, e-commerce, apparel. It does not matter. These guys have it on lock. I know this because I personally use them, and I've referred these guys to probably 10 different friends of mine who are all running both small or large businesses, and they've all come back to me and have given me rave reviews about these guys and thanked me profusely for sending them their way. So if you want to get ahead and focus on the things that make you money and not be busy for hours when a tech issue comes up, give these guys a call. They have changed the game and most importantly have changed the IT experience for those who use them. Their customer support is off the charts. I can personally attest to this. One ring, they pick up, and you're dealing with an experienced tech who knows what's up. Feel free to test it. If you're starting a new company or are unhappy with your current IT provider and are looking for the best product out there, take it from me. This is a no-brainer choice. Give these guys a call. You can reach them at 732-444-8771 and choose sales when following the prompts. Or you can reach out via email at hello@cubx.com. That's HELLO@CUBX.com. You can also check them out at cubx.com. That's CUBX.com. Now back to our episode. But I'll say, Ben Shapiro, he was 100% on the money. And he said that her foul intellectualism, if you remember, that was like the famous thing that really blew it up because he was standing on a stage and someone was videoing.
Yes.
It was that he was
Post October 7th, right?
Yeah, because she was already starting to say things clearly anti-Israel. And that's what she responded to him, Christ is king, right? And that's why the whole thing, Christ is king, she never said it up till that point, ever. And she claims, I'm not allowed to believe in Christ. I'm not allowed to say Christ is king. And the
Knock
answer is,
yourself out, sweetheart.
No, you're not saying Christ is king. You're saying it in order to give a dig at another Jew. And the same way we wouldn't use a religious term of ours to give a dig at you. It's disrespectful, so don't do that, right? That's and that's what Jordan Peterson is saying right now. He's like, you're using God's name in vain. You're using the name, right, Christ is king, purely just to be able to stick it to a Jew that you don't like or whatever, right? So at the end of the day, Ben picked up, and now the second she left, boom, the Holocaust, right? Mangala surgeries are not real, blah, blah, blah.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybe this, maybe that. And it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, and collectively, all these people, now one of these animals, and I say that, the way I speak and the way I refer to these people, now one of these animals has...
You're willing to call Bilzerian an animal?
Like, you know, like the whole thing about Douglas Murray, have you been there? Have you could speak on it just like I could speak on MMA. But unless I've actually been choked out, you know, I'm not an expert. But the thing about like the Dave Smith, like, why not go? You're making enough money off this conflict. Why not go to Judea, Samaria and talk that shit there? Why not go and interview some of these terrorists that have gotten out of jail? Why not go interview some of the IDF women who've lost their husbands? Why not go and interview some of the hostages? Why not go and since you're so interested and curious about it, it ain't that expensive to get on a fucking flight on El Al and go to Judea, Samaria, go to Ramallah, go to Jenin, go to Israel, and talk to the people because you're so curious and you're such an expert on it. Why not go when you can afford to go? Ian Carroll and the rest of these pieces of shit, these protesters and all this. Go there.
The real answer is, and it's.
I'm not saying go to Gaza, obviously, but I put that out there too.
Oh, I told him that. What do you mean?
What?
He was fighting with me on X about this. Dave Smith. I said.
Oh, you were going.
Go. I said, since you're such a big talker, I'll fly you.
I'll fly you first.
Gaza. That's what I told him. I'll fly you first class to Gaza.
Forget Gaza. I said this. Dave Smith. You're making a pretty penny off this conflict. Since I bet you're making more money since October 7th than you made in your entire life, you scumbag. But I will fly you first class, El Al. You got to go right to Ramallah. You got to go right to Jenin.
He's not going to live though. I'm being serious. They'll end up killing him. He's Jewish.
But he's so.
I said go to Gaza.
But you know the compassionate thing, the compassionate this, the compassionate and the compassion. He's got little kids. He must be so compassionate because he mentions the fact that he has kids, as if that means all of a sudden you're a great person. I don't know if you're a good dad or not, but I will fly you first class. I put this out there, man. No one's taking me up on this. Not just Dave Smith. All these protesters. Yo, I'll pick you up at the airport, give you $300 a day per diem. Ramallah, Jenin.
I'll tell you.
Airbnb in Judea, Samaria. They won't go.
Yeah. I'll tell you the real.
It's sick.
Because I'll tell you what it really comes down to. It's a classic trap that they play. Ultimately, what it comes down to, it's just one big disingenuous. It's a disingenuous position. Because of course you could talk on something. Like no one is saying you can't. But I have to be there. Well, if you're spending all your time talking about something
and making all your money.
But with Dave Smith specifically, it's ironic because he'll say I've read everything, but
have you?
But even if he has, he runs around. His entire thing is not trusting the legacy media because they're all trying to divert us from everything, from COVID, from this, from that. But he'll believe every single article from the New York Times and all the same legacy media that he hates when it comes to Israel-Palestine. So if you don't believe it in one place, don't believe it in the other place. And if you really want to get the truth, then spend all your time, take your comedy mic, throw it in the garbage for a year, and start become an expert in it. Go to the
You don't even have to go to a year. Go for 2 weeks.
I'm saying
go right to Kibbutz Be'eri. Go see it.
Yeah,
and then go start from the south and go work your way up. Or, matter of fact, this piece of shit, go right to Judea, Samaria. We don't need you, and you don't get to eat in Tel Aviv, motherfucker. You don't get to enjoy Tel Aviv. You don't get to enjoy. Go right to Jenin. And Joe Rogan too. The thing about Joe Rogan, it's like you have access to so much. You put on random people. Not every podcast is going to be the big booming one. Like there's so many people that you could talk to. Like I would love for him to have Dr. Einat Wilf on there. There's so many incredible smart.
He has, in fairness to Joe. Okay, so a couple things on Joe. In fairness, he does have some pro-Israel people. It's not like he doesn't. Yes, it's skewed more.
He had Godsod on in March.
No, but he's also had Coleman News. He's had some. He had Tim.
That
Kennedy.
was early too.
He just had Tim Kennedy.
And right, Tim Kennedy was
After.
early.
No, he just had him on.
No, that
was before.
Yes.
Oh.
And what did he say when Tim Kennedy told him? Like Tim Kennedy didn't expound upon a whole thing. Tim Kennedy told him, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And if the fucking Dave Smith and the Ian Carroll had been there with Tim Kennedy, they wouldn't have said a word. You know why? Because he's a badass. He's a Green Beret. He's an MMA guy. He'll fuck. He's a badass dude. Douglas Murray's a badass dude also. But you'll argue him and you'll get all cute with him because you're not physically intimidated the way you are with Tim Kennedy. But when Tim Kennedy said that, boom, 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 boom,
he lays it down. That's it.
What was the response? Nothing.
That's a good point. That's it. But
so, you're gonna perk up to somebody like Douglas Murray because you're not intimidated by him. But he's the same badass that Kennedy is.
For sure. Not even in the respective fields, absolutely.
Yes.
Joe's an interesting character specifically, and this, by the way, goes back to what I was talking about on the war of ideas, right? This is the war of ideas. If he has on more people that are, let's call it pro-Israel, his audience will be influenced more towards a pro-Israel stance. If he has more people on, let's just say Joe started having people on that just hated America, his audience would be influenced in a communist, could be influenced on anything for that matter. That's the war of ideas that's really happening. Are we pro-Western values or are we not pro-Western values? Are we pro-communism or whatever other ideology, someone wants to push? So he has who knows how many tens of millions of listeners. That's a tremendous influence. But specifically with Joe is a little bit different because even though Joe has clearly kind of made his position, he hasn't said it outright, but he's made his position pretty clear that he's more favoring the Palestinians. I'm not going to call it Hamas because I don't think he would say that, but more favoring Gaza and the Palestinians than Israel. And definitely he has said is very critical of how Israel's conducted the war, right? Because they're blowing them to smithereens, blah, 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 whatever,
Based on what?
But I agree with you.
I know.
I agree with all that.
I'm just giving you the quote.
John Spencer. We had John Spencer on. He's like,
love John Spencer.
John's fantastic. John was great. He actually pulled up a thing for me of where Joe was talking about like Israel using a drone, whatever.
It's a fucking war. No one was talking about how Hamas was doing anything on October 7th. No one's talking about how Hamas has been doing things since. No one's talking about how Syria has been doing things since October 7th. Hezbollah's doing things. The Houthis doing things. It's always what Israel's doing.
Yeah.
No one's like, they're like the kids. What about the kids that were killed on October 7th? What about the Bibas family? What about the people that were kidnapped, the kids that were kidnapped? What about the families that were burned alive on October 7th? Oh, it's because they're so upset. It's because something must have pushed them to that. Now, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That's and Joe Rogan, as somebody who like in a fighting thing, it's like, yo, let's do a fighting analogy. You're a fighter.
It's interesting because Joe actually is one of the few people that I actually think could be anti-Israel. I don't think he's anti-Jews. I don't. I think Joe is drawn to conspiracy theories in general.
He loves a conspiracy theory.
So that's perfect. For if you're wondering who Jeffrey Epstein was, and if you're wondering all these Jews are the number one conspiratorial target of all time, right? So if you, Joe's entire life is talking about aliens and this conspiracy and then Kennedy, JFK and every single conspiracy there. So all you need to do is throw in there, where was the Mossad involved in this? And all of a sudden Joe could be like, interesting. And it starts to plant the seed in his brain.
I don't debate with these motherfuckers. Honestly, I'm not debating. I am not discussing. I am not... well, Benny Morris said this, the UN said that, Amnesty. If you don't want us to exist, you don't want us to exist. They've said it, they act upon it, they said it since October 7th, and they continue to say it. So we could talk about the paperwork and the deals in 1967.
How do you think this ends?
Huh?
How do you think this ends?
The war?
Yeah, the outcome of this saga.
Man, if I had the answer to that, that'd be a viral clip. The outcome to October 7th is going to be...
I think there's already enough viral clips, by the way, in this.
No, but how do I think it ends? I'm praying that the hostages are all returned. I'm praying that...
how do you think this...
The damage is already done. We lost on October 7th. There's no winning this war.
Yeah.
We lost. There's finishing it out and protecting us going forward. There's no fixing what happened on October 7th and since.
I realized that, by the way, already a while ago, a year ago.
There's no
6 months after. 6 months after, I was like, I was so angry, and everyone was so angry, and it was like for a second, it was like, oh, if we fuck them up, it's gonna feel better, and it's like, no, it won't. And that's when I realized, I'm like, it's never gonna feel better.
The beeper thing was great for a moment.
Yeah, let's fuck that.
It gives you a little elation.
That was some badass shit, though.
It was incredible. But you know, and the amount of pain that people have gone through, the suffering, the loss, there's no fixing that. There's no fixing it. So beepers, Sinwar, it doesn't fix someone who lost their limbs. It doesn't fix someone whose loved one's never coming back. It doesn't fix the nightmares that the people have gone through since October 7th. There's no fixing it. There's nothing's gonna soothe that. There's no Band-Aid. It's not a movie. It's not Rocky. Like, we'll get him in the 15th round.
Yeah.
It's just, it's more complicated than that, and more complicated than I'll ever understand. Because like I said, you know, my feelings are, and my hurt is compared to people that I've had the honor of coming across since October 7th in Israel and in the United States that I've met.
Yeah. It's really crazy. I was just something random came up on my feed, which is crazy. I knew that there were people that committed suicide after October 7th that survived it, but just the other day something came across my feed about a Magen Adom responder who on October 7th got into his thing and just drove south and was rescuing people. October 25th, he took his life. It was just too much for him to, immediately, the PTSD. Just, can you imagine such a thing?
You know, the spirit is tough. The grit, we talk about the grit and all that stuff. These are human beings.
Yeah,
they're men and women just like everybody else. They have an incredible spirit, and the spirit is, and the light has shined brighter. It hasn't shined. It shined, bright since then. But the people are the people, and you can only take so much. I'm sorry.
Mad respect.
I'm off. I'm sorry. I did a bad choice since October 7th. Like about 3 months ago, I stopped taking my mood stabilizers, my Effexor and Lexapro. So I have been I'm not a crier, as you could probably imagine, but I have been. I don't think I've ever cried this much as an adult.
You think, well, that type of stuff just makes you feel less, right?
I think it makes you feel less. I got some. It definitely makes you feel less, but
yeah, it numbs. It numbs more.
Yeah, it numbs it. I've taken that, but so
yeah. So at the end of the day, I guess the question is how it ends. I think the big thing really comes down to is, in my opinion, this is never going to end, and sounds crazy to say, but it's never going to end for as long as it's a Palestinian area, primarily. And this is not because, I'm not saying this because I want Israel to take over Gaza. It has nothing to do with that. I don't give a shit who takes it over. Give it over to fucking Europe, give it to the EU, give it to Australia, for whatever the fuck, whoever the fuck wants it. But so long as the Palestinians, that's their enclave, and the PA is running it or Hamas is running it, this will never end, even if Hamas is not there. And yeah, you'll say that's ethnic cleansing, but you know something? At some fucking point, it's like, and again, I'm not saying because this war will just never end. It will just be a conflict that will go and go. And I guess I'm just getting to the place where it's like, okay, fine, no fucking problem. Call it ethnic cleansing. Done. You know something? Any other fucking country would have done this long ago and been like, Jordan did this. Jordan told the Palestinians to get the fuck out of here, and they threw them all to Lebanon. And no one wants to talk about that. They killed 5,000 of them in 2 days or some shit, right? Because the Palestinians tried overthrowing King Hussein's father, I believe it was, in Jordan. And they were just like, get the fuck out of here. If you're bringing chaos to us, just get out, right? which is just like, but now that term has been weaponized, called ethnic cleansing. You're a bad person. It's like being called a misogynist, which the second you just realize, like, okay, you could call me a misogynist from today till next fucking year. I don't care. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me because I know that I'm, let's say, whoever it is that's being accused of that I'm not anti-women, that I don't hate women. So you don't get to just use that word to, like, try to fuck with my head. Now I'm like, oh, I'm a bad person. You know? Like, no, fuck that shit. Ethnic cleansing, sure, correct. If you keep committing terrorism for fucking 50 years, get the fuck away from us.
I think there is a way, but it has to be like a hardcore thing. I take this from Now Wilf. You know, she has a suggestion of, you know, you have to disavow, you know, a Hamas. You have to publicly state it. You have to write it, and then you move here, and you know, you move to the north, you move to the south, and if anybody else who wants to stay, you want to stay.
Publicly disavow. How does that help?
Because I don't want to misquote her, and because if you say it out loud, there's something about the religion, and there's something, and I'm not going to get this correctly. There's something about the religion, and you know, if you say you're not part of it, it's like it means something.
Yeah, no, for sure. If it's like. That's like
it's going to take years.
Renouncing. That's renouncing.
Like,
it's
going to take years.
The Christians wanted the Jews to convert.
Open a fucking Chick-fil-A. Open some Starbucks. Get a casino out there. Get some strip clubs. You know, get a movie theater. Have a Gaza International Film Festival. Ryan Gosling coming off a yacht. Like, bring this fucking place into you know 2025.
Yeah.
And all that shit'll stop.
It was nice beforehand though. Have you seen the videos?
Yeah.
All that stuff? So one of the people that I had on the podcast was actually he's the Satmar Rabbi's grandson. I don't know if you know him, but he's a lieutenant in the IDF, which is like a crazy thing because the Satmar Hasidic sect is very anti-Zionist, and he's the grandson, and he went and joined the IDF, which is like a crazy thing in the religious world, right? But he's a trailblazer in that way. Anyways, he came on the podcast and he fought October 7th. Was there within 24 hours. He was actually, his team was the one who killed Sinwar. There's pictures of him literally sitting in the chair, you know? Yeah. So he told me that he's fighting there. He's like, you would not, like, he was saying to me, he's like, you have ideas of Gaza of it being this shitty place. Like, some of these houses that he was going through are gorgeous. He's like, some areas are beautiful, beautiful houses.
They got the same beach we got.
It's just interesting.
The same beach we got. When I'm in Tel Aviv and you think, when you're like, you look how close you are and you're like, that's the same beach.
Yeah.
You got the same shit. You just chose to piss it into the ground. You chose to, you know, instead of building it up, you built underneath. And the only thing you're focused on is the destruction and the elimination of Jews in Israel. You got the same shit.
How do you think Trump is handling this whole situation? Are you happy with how he's?
I am happy with it. I mean, obviously, you want more. We want the people back immediately. Akshav. We want and sovereignty and to leave Israel the fuck alone. I think he's done the best that he can. I sometimes think if Kamala had won, I believe in my heart that the hostages that have returned wouldn't have made it. Oh, yeah. And I believe that we'd be under attack.
Oh, for sure.
I believe that it would be bad. But so I think he's done a great job regarding Israel and a great job regarding the hostages. He knows better than...
He gets it, by the way.
I mean, this is not... We are negotiating with people that are... These are not normal people. These are animals.
How do you like what he's done in regards to America? Like first 100 days?
The economy makes me nervous. I like what he's done.
Time out. You went from hating his guts to, let's be real, voting for him.
I don't say.
Okay, fine. I don't know, whatever. I'm not claiming, whatever. To not hating his guts. Okay? That's what happened.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
So how did that happen?
When there was 251 hostages and Israel was under attack, when there was 251 hostages before the first hostage release, to see cadaver Joe Biden and kooky Kamala Harris playing good cop, bad cop. I said voting for, and I never thought I would have said this. I said voting for Trump is on the table. I called him something else, but I said voting for Trump is on the table because Biden, when he first went there, no, he was great, he was strong, he sent the ships there, it was good. But soon after, and they showed they're hemming and hawing, good cop, bad cop, while there's 251 hostages.
Yeah.
And well, maybe how they're going about it. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? What the fuck are you talking about, man? What are you talking about?
She studied the maps.
So that's when I was like, and then, since then, a lot has changed for me, and my priorities have changed.
So what? What were they and what are they?
The Jews in Israel, Jews here in the diaspora, the anti-Semitism, the bullying, the harassment,
What are you saying about the people who claim that, right, the Candace Owens and that, not to get right back into that, but about the people who say that we're more loyal to Israel than we are to America?
Right. You're more loyal to Israel than you are to... America's the ultimate power. We can multitask. America can multitask. You're so fucking smart, Candace Owens. America can multitask.
No, I mean as far as Jews having allegiance, like where we have allegiance to.
What do you mean?
Meaning they claim, right, that Jews' ultimate allegiance, like one of the big claims against Ben Shapiro is that what he really wants is not what's good for America. He wants what's good for America, but really, if he had to swear an oath, he cares more about Israel than he does about America.
I can't say what Ben, like specifically wants or doesn't want.
This is what they'll claim.
I feel like we could do both. America could be safe. America could be thriving. Our borders can be safe. Our borders could be shut down. Our economy can be great. And Israel could be protected because Israel is the United States' greatest ally. I think, like I said, we can multitask.
Yeah.
I don't think by standing by Israel, we're compromising anything in the United States.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree to that.
That's why I don't like. Well, what is she? I don't talk to these fucking animals. I'm done. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get into like. I've been offered debates with these.
I was just saying more as in like the overall idea.
This all comes to you don't like Israel.
Yeah,
all this shit that you're saying, like
course.
this one and the fucking, Dick Stain, Dan Blazarian, and that fucking brain dead Jake Shields and the fucking Candace Owens and the rest of these geniuses and the Dave Smiths and all them. You just don't like Israel. You don't like Israel. You don't like Jews. That's what it comes down. Just say that. I fuck with that. I respect that. You could twist it any way you want, man. You could say all these different things, and I read this and I heard that. You just don't want Israel to. You hate Israel. You hate Israel and you hate Jews. And it's one and the same. And it's not the Zionist. You hate Israel, you hate Jews. You're jealous. You're confused how a small little group of people can have accomplished so much.
Yeah.
It baffles you. And I think somebody like, I think there's also, now I don't want to be careful with what I'm saying here. I think and I've tweeted this also. I think there's sick people, Christians in wolf's clothing, Christians in names only, where you get into Jesus was a Jew, right?
He was, yeah. Of course he was.
Be careful here. So Jesus was a Jew.
Be careful. It's a fact.
But somehow, some way, you in the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was a Jew. I think for some people, very small, this can make you sick, like a Candace Owens. It's like saying,
I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I mean he was Jewish. That's not the big
the greatest. Let's just say it of all time. The greatest Jew of all time, Jesus Christ. But your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Some people. I don't want to disrespect. I'm saying some people, sickos. Your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ this. Jesus Christ that. It's Jewish.
Yeah.
But you hate. So that's you can't. There can't be one. You can't hate.
Yeah, it's two-faced.
It's sick. It's like you're corroding from the inside.
Yeah.
Because you love what you're not. You could convert. The mikvah's open for everybody. Candace, you could come over. The mikvah's open for everybody.
Okay, you're a fucking legend. So hold on a second. What about the other things?
Keep the fucking mikvah open. The mikvah is open for all comers. You got to do a little work. Got to do a little study, practice. Maybe we'll do a background check on some of you. But the mikvah it's open. I'll hook you up. We get a nice one. Nice,
yeah,
private.
Nice also. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. What about the other things when like as far as, I don't know, fiscal policy, all America related stuff when it comes to Trump? Were you just sick and tired of the Biden even bullshit in that regard? And it was just like, okay.
I'm not a political expert. Okay. I don't claim to be a political expert. What I want what I wish, what I vote for is pretty simple at this point. I want safety in this country. I want money for everybody. I want a thriving economy. And like I said, I want the anti-Semitism and the anti-Jewishness, the anti-Zionist to be unacceptable. I don't want people running around here thinking they could just piss, shit, attack, threaten, bully Jews in this country. It's like a small thing, right? Columbia, great. Harvard, fucking take the... You don't get the 2.2. You don't get it. Khalil Muhammad, get the fuck out of here.
That was good.
Get the fuck out of here, man. You had the greatest opportunity. So many people want to come to the United States, and not only come to the United States, you had the opportunity to come to the United States and be in the greatest city in the world. And you pissed it away, harassing, bullying, threatening people on a college campus in the greatest city in the world.
Yeah.
You're not a victim. You, your wife, Khalil Jr., because allegedly he had a baby last week. Allegedly. I haven't seen the baby. I haven't seen any paperwork. I haven't seen any documentation of this baby, Khalil Jr. You should have been putting together the bassinet the last 9 months. You should have been painting the baby room. You should have been putting together the stroller instead of harassing, chasing, and putting out this terror shit in New York City. You should have been focused on being a dad. Now you're in a fucking jail in Louisiana, and it's hot as shit down there. Okay? You're not a victim. You're not a fucking victim. You did this to yourself. So Khalil Muhammad specifically, and I'd bet money on it if I could, you're never coming back to the United States, and you're never going to be able to have the pleasantry of walking down 6th Avenue, especially on a beautiful day like today, and have a slice of pizza in your fucking hand. And you did it to yourself. You fucked your family up yourself. You're not a victim, Khalil Muhammad, and your fucking wife. She's part of it too.
Yeah,
you did this to yourself.
Why? I'm with you 1,000,000% on the Khalil Muhammad thing. And that's, by the way, that's Trump 101.
Trump 101.
101. Like, respect.
Harvard 101. Yeah. These people?
Yeah.
It's been an eye-opening thing to me. And to see the response of the Harvard thing was an eye-opening thing to me. Huge eye-opening thing to me because...
Which part specifically?
Understanding...
They rejected it?
Understanding that...
So Obama. You saw Obama came out pro. By the way, there's no greater example, okay, an illustration, if you will, of the differences between the two parties. Barack Obama, their Lord and Savior, okay, after Trump declined, came out with the whole thing about how terrible this is and we should be promoting, right? There's all bullshit, sounds nice, sounds cute, it's so warm and fuzzy, came out. Trump, on the flip side, no fucking funding for you. Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's a perfect example. One sounds nice, and one does the right thing.
Hey, man.
What's the difference?
Barack Obama, respectfully, President Barack Obama, respectfully, if they were on campus talking about this is a no black people zone, there's no black people on this campus, this building, if they were talking about, forget that, no LGBTQ, forget that. If they were saying there's no tall people, no people with freckles, no people that are left-handed,
I'd have a huge
no
problem.
people that love dogs, no people that love cats, him and his wife would be out there protesting themselves.
Did you see she just yesterday?
And yesterday she said that the
deportation.
deportation keeps you up at night, but Eden Alexander, who's an American citizen from New Jersey, you haven't mentioned. But the
about
deportation for a scumbag like Khalil Muhammad keeps you. I don't believe you, respectfully, Michelle Obama, that you lose sleep over this at all.
But the crazy part is that her husband has deported way more people than Donald Trump ever did yet, which is almost like a stain on Trump's record. Did you know this?
Yes.
Barack Obama deported over 3 million people in 8 years. Trump is nowhere near that number yet. Not even close. But she's sick, and then
She loses sleep over it. I think you got other things that you might be losing sleep over, Michelle Obama.
Her marriage. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
She's tired. She's tired. She's not sure. She's losing. She's in a little delirium stage.
You lose sleep over that, but you haven't mentioned the American hostages at very least, but you lose sleep over scumbags like Khalil Muhammad?
Yeah, this is we're in a wild time. Why did you hate Trump so much originally? And what specifically? Because you're very brash, obviously. I mean, that's clear from this podcast.
The thing about Trump, 2015 into 2016, and I wasn't as informed as I am now, and I said I am not an expert by any means. I know what I know. I know way more what I don't know. I'm very aware of it. The thing that was very concerning about Trump when he was running was the disrespect, the blatant disrespect, the I like my war heroes not to be captured, the the hands during the debate and all that. Because I was just like, this is.
What hands? What was that?
My hands are bigger.
That's
all that stuff. But the I like my war heroes not to be captured really
pissed you off.
Set me off
Yeah,
because
that was a bad one.
as a New Yorker,
But that's the thing. You're brash also. Like, you're a trash
I get
talker.
it.
You're the king of trash.
I get it. But I ain't the president of the United States.
Yeah. Saying you can fuck with him in a bar, whatever, if you're chilling, like you could deal with that trash talk. But as far as
I talk crazy. I mean, me and my wife. I mean, we talk crazy shit. But I ain't the president of the United States.
Right.
And at the time, that's all I focused on. I was just like, no. And as a New Yorker, growing up, in the 70s and the 80s and seeing Trump, you were like, this fucking guy?
right,
The president of the United, this fucking guy? And then you're talking like crazy about your war heroes. Those things. And to be totally honest, it wasn't until after he left that I realized and appreciated what him and Jared, who I also talked about. And I was wrong about Jared Kushner. I was wrong.
What did he say specifically?
Just talking shit, man. Calling them names, talking shit. And I didn't realize how brilliant and how caring and how important he was to Israel.
What have you seen that's changed your mind on Jared? Have you spoken to him?
No.
Yeah.
Just, you learn.
Yeah,
you live and learn. You educate yourself.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, you've changed. Wow, you admitted you were wrong. I've been kicked out of school from the 3rd grade to the 12th grade. I've never been a day at the beach for my family. I've never been a day at the beach as a son. My wife, I got a beautiful wife. I'm older now, but I've never been a day at the beach. I have been a fuck up my whole life. So of course I can admit when I'm wrong. I think it's great to admit when you're wrong. And this ain't, the Knicks are gonna win in 5. This is real shit. I think it's imperative to grow, to change, to evolve. People like, you've changed. Thank God.
Yeah.
Hopefully I keep changing. And whether you like Trump now, I hold the space to not like him. Whether or not you're Republican, I'll never identify as one or the other. There might be something that comes along. It ain't gonna be Alexandra from the
I
Bronx.
was literally gonna say, AOC.
And it ain't gonna be.
She's about to run. She's gonna run.
She ain't gonna run.
No, I don't think you're. I think you're underestimating her.
I had this
I think
conversation.
you are underestimating her. She's Barack Obama 2.0.
She
ain't. You have to.
Barack Obama, you could say what you want. Charismatic.
She's pretty charismatic to the average. Do
She's
not
charismatic.
sleep.
I'm not sleeping on her. I was concerned about her. I was concerned about her before, but now that I listen to her more, she's a fucking dingbat.
I'm not saying you're.
Alexandra with the good hair. AOC with the good hair.
Okay. My opinion is she has a better chance of winning than Gavin Newsom. Just to explain, she has nothing. You can't go at AOC for anything. She's never been a governor. She has no track record to be able to shit on. With Newsom, you could go and say you burnt down half of fucking LA. Right. Every fucking thing you've done has been a shit show.
Yes.
It's so easy to just, in a debate, with her, there's nothing to go after. She's going to get up there, have rallies with 30,000 people,
Great.
walk with Bernie Sanders,
Great.
talk about how everyone's equal, whites, blacks,
Right.
blah, 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 and
Right.
tank our entire country into the ground.
Yeah, she ain't gonna win.
But that's, well,
I'm not saying she ain't formidable, but she ain't gonna win. And that fucking and aren't they?
she could be a nominee. I believe
what
that. She's young.
100%.
She's young.
She got good hair.
Yeah.
Alexandra from the Bronx. Alexandra with the good hair. What is the term? Because their big thing is oligarchy. What does that term mean exactly?
Oligarchs are like, how do I define oligarchs? Oligarchs are like they're like NGOs, my understanding is, in terms of people, meaning they're like very powerful businessmen that have tremendous influence in the background. Okay. So like, let's say in Russia, that's where the term really comes from.
Got it.
The oligarchs are like, they're actually, a lot of them are Jewish, but super, super wealthy, like that are in Putin's corner. Now they're not officially in the government.
Okay.
But they're worth billions and billions of dollars. They control the oil industries. They control whatever. Again,
dictator. They're off the dictator, and then now they're on the oligarchy.
Yeah, they're not in.
Dictator was last. He's a dictator. Now they're
oligarchs.
oligarch.
You're saying, they moved on to the oligarchs. Yeah. Bernie Sanders started with that already a couple of years ago.
Yeah, with the dictator of the oligarch. But now
Elon Musk is probably an oligarch too.
Right.
Like any very wealthy person is an oligarch.
Right. And
You can't,
Bernie
like, just
Sanders
be-
lives where? He lives on what? $7.2 million crib?
Probably some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
he ain't fucking. Him.
Pelosi's the biggest scam of all time. Pelosi is the biggest motherfucking scam. She makes officially $250,000 a year. That bitch is worth $240 million.
Yeah.
You understand that there's a website that tracks her trades, okay?
Yeah. Her trade.
Her trades in the stock market.
I want to follow her.
She has been
Can I follow
outperforming-
her trades?
Yes, you can, I suppose.
Yo, DM me. Yo, Nancy, DM me, man. When you're making a fucking trade, man, pass it around.
No, there's a guy, she's outperforming the S&P by like some God knows crazy number over the last 30 years.
I liked her when she took the knee. I want you, Nancy, before you fucking, I want you your last over. I want you to put on your kufi and your shit. The way you took that knee for George Floyd, I want to see you take that fucking knee again. That was my day. I loved it. Her and Chuck Schumer, they took
Chuck
that.
Schumer,
They
oh
were
my
awesome.
God.
They had on their scarves and all that. That was what that's the day that I fucked with Nancy. I was like, you took that fucking knee. That's the day. Why hasn't she taken the knee since? She just took the knee that one time. Was it for the photo op? That's what I fucked with Nancy. I was like, I fucked with you, Nancy. Took that fucking knee. Her and that bozo Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer.
He's the worst.
Oh, the worst.
The top of the top.
The top of the top. He's such a, yeah.
He's a shameful.
Don't we run the fucking world?
Listen,
Why the fuck would we have that guy?
he's gonna go. I think he's gonna get voted out.
He is such a fucking...
He's an old.
No, he's got time left. What do you mean? The majority leader, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name.
Hakeem?
No, that's it used to be. What's his name?
Hakeem the Dream
No,
Jeffries?
The one before that. For the Republicans before that. He's like 80
Oh,
years old.
yes.
Mitch
yeah.
McConnell.
Yes.
What do you
Mitch
Mitch
the
McConnell?
Glitch.
Mitch the Glitch.
I fuck with Mitch the Glitch. Let me tell you something lighthearted. Mitch the Glitch. First of all, that day that he glitched out, a lot of people thought he caught a stroke. He didn't. He shat his pants. I know that fucking face. People like I know he was like, oh, but I don't know how it sort of slipped under the radar. Mitch the Glitch, Mitch McConnell, fell down a flight of steps and showed up to work the next day with his head wrapped in an ace bandage like Tupac when he got shot
I give
the first
respect
time.
to that.
Yo, my barista at Starbucks, she stubs her toe. She's out for 6 fucking weeks. I like the work ethic. This fucking guy's gonna rock it until the wheels fall off. You gotta respect it. You might not like his policies, but you gotta go. This fucking guy showing up, he had like a stake on his eye. His head was wrapped. He had like a broken hand, body bruised, showed up for work the next day. I respect it.
I'm with you.
I'm a coddled actor. You think if I fell down a flight of steps, I'd show up on set the next day? Fuck no.
You'd be like, I'm showing up with like...
I'm gonna take 2
Give me
weeks off.
workers' comp.
Workers' comp. I'm suing somebody, not Mitch the Glitch. He showed up with a black eye and like a fucking, he's like one of his pinky. I fuck with Mitch the Glitch.
But Mitch the Glitch, hold on a second, let's be clear. Mitch the Glitch, Chuck Schumer is not really any different. Mitch the Glitch was going till he was actually just spazzing out and glitching in real life.
Same thing.
Schumer's gonna do the same thing. Schumer
Same
has
thing.
another 20 years left in him.
Schumer's on whatever
He's
cocktail he's on. He's riding high.
Oh, he's writing it out for
Yeah,
sure.
he looks good. He's standing upright. They got him
Yeah.
on a nice package, a nice cocktail of some certain medications. They put him in like in an ice bath. They freeze him at night. He comes back. They got him. He's cooking on all cylinders. He's a big piece of shit.
He's a real
He's an
big piece of-
embarrassing piece of shit.
I think
He's an embarrassment not just to the Jews, but to the great state of New York. You're a fucking clown, Chuck.
and the great country of the USA.
Who is going to call while there's hostages, American hostages? He's from Long Island,
He
right?
tried getting Netanyahu out. That was the craziest
during
fucking
a
thing.
war.
Oh my God. That was
You called for why are you calling for
Re-elections in a
elections
different
in
country.
Israel? What the fuck does that have to do with you? While there's a war going on, whether you think there should be or shouldn't be, why would you go on Congress floor and call for elections in Israel during a war while there's hostages that live not too far from where you're from? You scumbag, you.
Yeah.
You scumbag. He wanted to get that on record.
He cares about one thing, and this is pretty much everyone in politics, but he's on a whole nother level. He cares about retaining power. That's it. That's his entire thing, and he will do everything. He will sell out his soul. He does not give a flying shit.
Remember when the Giants won the Super Bowl and the next year Bill Parcells stepped down? That's what like somebody like that, if you had some class some dignity, and you're like, yo, we won the Super Bowl. Not that you've won the Super Bowl. You're not Bill Parsons, Chuck Schumer. I'm not even comparing you to both Parsons. But at a certain point, it's like, yo, I've done everything I can here. I want some new people in here.
Yeah.
He won't do it.
What's going on? What's your take? First of all, I want to talk NBA for a second.
Okay.
Knicks, you must be loving the last couple of years. I mean, how great is it to be a Knicks fan? And for fucking finally.
Let's take it easy. Let's take it easy.
At
We're
least
getting out of
watch the game.
The games are great. Yeah. I love the style of play. I love the grit of the team. They are understated. I call them, instead of the New York Knickerbockers, I call them the New York Nerderbockers. They're all nerds. They're chill. They're like basketball geeks. Karl Anthony Towns, I say that with all due respect. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges.
Brunson's a dog.
Dog.
I love that.
Josh Hart. But they're nerds. They're not. There's no bravado.
Yeah.
There's not even any extra. There's some extra hot sauce on Jalen's game because he does
so good.
But he's a dog, and they represent the fabric and the style and the essence and the heart of a New York team.
I have a big hot take for you. I think Jalen Brunson's done more for the Knicks than Carmelo Anthony at this point.
I agree.
Carmelo is his flash. Jalen Brunson, first of all, in the clutch, this guy shows up to these big games down the stretch. When you need a bucket,
he's sick.
This guy shows up. There's a certain gene, right?
He
that
just has
clutch gene, especially in New York, which A-Rod didn't have, Jeter did have, right? There's just that don't show me a stat book. I don't give a fuck about the stat book. Okay, showing me it's not the point. I'm watching the game. I know who I believe in and who I don't believe in. And there's a reason why that belief develops, right?
100%.
Jalen Brunson, with the game on the line, I want that motherfucker holding the ball.
100%.
Like, that's my thing.
And as great as
More than Melo.
Carmelo was, and I loved him as a player, I respect him even more as he's gone because just what he accomplished. I never believed that Knicks team was going to do shit.
Yeah.
We won one playoff series, and that was it. But I never even when I knew, like, this isn't going to work.
I would argue Stoudemire, before Melo came, was giving the Knicks more in 2010. I'm sure you remember that.
Of course.
Melo shows up.
Talk about a
then
Jew.
You have Insanity.
Talk about an incredible
Stoudemire.
Jew.
Wow, that was crazy. Yeah, he just got married. Saw that?
He's an incredible Jew,
Yeah.
Amari Stoudemire. When he came to New York and he said, I'm Jewish, I thought it was the whole thing. And I told him this. I thought it was all like, it was just like a passing thing to sort of ingratiate himself to New York. I just salute, man.
No, he went to B'nai Brak. Like, he went to Israel. Like,
he inspires
the most
me.
Intense Jewish place, like Orthodox place, and like got a real conversion. Like, he did it legit to like make sure. That's what's nuts.
Incredible Jew.
My friend I don't know if I could say this. My friend, he was the one who gave him his Brit Milah.
Wow.
How fucking insane is that? I remember it was like 2010. He's like,
was it 2010?
like maybe it was a little later, 2013, 14, 15. It was back. I don't fucking know. It was a while.
He studied.
No, it must have been. I'll tell you when it was. It was not 2010. He was still playing with the Knicks. Like, he was still early. It was later than that. It was definitely later than that. It was like probably 13, 14, or 15.
Yeah, probably.
But I, at the time, was still in Queens learning in yeshiva there. And one of the guys was like, father was like a big mall. And he gets a call. He didn't say who it was on the other end of the line. They said, there's a big celebrity wants to get Brit Milah, So his father was training in his son, and I knew the son. Son was older than me. He's like 10, 15 years older than me. And the father's like, okay, fine. He's busy giving Brit Milah to every single, like, lined up every morning, 2 a day, probably, to regular Joe. He's like, I'll send my son, whatever, fine. He has the credentials. He's just younger. So he shows up and in walks Amari fucking Stoudemire. And I was like, so just so I understand this. So you're holding Amari Stoudemire. Like, I'm just trying to, like, wrap my head around the situation.
I know. It's crazy.
This sounds fucking bonkers.
Yeah, but he's a great Jew.
Oh, yeah. He's tremendous. He actually showed up at a party that I made once, which was hilarious. He showed up with that guy, L'chaim OG. Do you know that guy?
No.
It's like he's like another, like, black rapper that's also Jewish, and he's close with Amari. And they showed up at a party of mine that I made like 3 years ago.
That's cool.
And they were just sitting on there rapping. I don't even know what the fuck was going on. I was too slammed to even remember exactly what was happening, but it was just chaos.
Yeah.
It was funny, but he's great. And he learns. Like, he's
not playing around. He's serious, great Jew.
Yeah. And what a ball player. We all, what's so funny is that us, especially.
Him in Phoenix he was sick. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. Why? And I told this to Omari. his rookie year, NBA All-Star game, his rookie year. The NBA All-Star game, I saw him. It was a party like 2 days before the All-Star game. He wasn't in the All-Star game. He had an orange orange hoodie on because he was with Phoenix. And I was like, yo, man, I like the way you play. He knew who I was as an actor. And I was like, yo, you play good. And he said this to me. I'm going to use a different word that he said, but he said, these motherfuckers are soft. And I said, he said, these motherfuckers are talking about the league. And we're talking about the time Karl Malone was still in the league.
Wow.
And he was just like, it was like almost like he didn't realize that he could come in and kick ass, but he said, these motherfuckers are soft. And I always remind him when I see him of that because I was just like, I think it was 19. To say that about, like, he's
big dogs. Jordan was just exiting the league, was back in the league in 01.
They were still goon. Like, it was still way more physical for
Imagine
him.
what he thinks now. When you touch someone, it's a fucking foul.
Yeah.
The term no blood, no foul doesn't even exist.
Well, it exists during these playoffs. I've seen some crazy.
But now?
Did you see
a little bit?
I'm not saying it was the dirtiest play. The way Anthony Edwards literally pushed LeBron James in the chest and then pushed him in the chest again.
Yeah, he got called for it.
No, he didn't. It was.
Wasn't on the side? Didn't they give him?
I've never seen that happen in the game and no foul.
Real, just like
He
that.
pushed him in the chest.
Also, by the way, I'll be honest.
and pushed him.
I was very anti that. Like, it's cute. Like, you think you're like a dog because you're young and you go. Honestly, show some fucking respect, all right? You're a fucking child.
No, you got to take him down because LeBron ain't going anywhere. I respect it.
I don't respect it.
I can't believe there was no call.
It's a childish sign. Like,
No, you got to take him down.
I respect playing hard and even boxing out like a motherfucker.
There wasn't even a dirty play. It was just a foul.
No, he's trying to like show his teammates that I'm not scared to go
No, I
at
think he's
LeBron.
showing himself.
You think that's what?
And he's showing LeBron, but I've never seen somebody.
To me, it's like show some respect. You're not. You're still not in LeBron's league.
No. You can't show some respect.
Not respect. You.
No.
Even Kobe
It's
and Michael.
playoffs.
Kobe still respected Michael back in the day. There's the famous games of them playing.
He's got to bring him down. This guy won't unless you bring him down and unless you take him out. He's not going to leave. He's 57 years old. LeBron. He's 57. Anthony Edwards is like, get the fuck out of here, man.
He's so good at 40 years old. It's fucking.
You say 40, I say 57. At a certain point, you have to take him down, and I think that's what Anthony. Like, get the fuck out of this league, man. You've done enough. Get out of here.
It's so crazy though.
It's too much.
He is so. LeBron is so. It's scary how fucking good he is.
He's incredible.
Like the fact that 40. Did you see this other game? The game 4. Game 3.
4 the other night.
Game 3. Yeah, no, game 3.
Yes.
He was pulling up in middle of fucking half court by the circle.
He's sick, and I have no problem with. I just can't believe the refs didn't call it because it wasn't like a little or an elbow. It was 2 pushes.
What about the call which they overturned? The one which I didn't ever saw that in my life, by the way, where that angle where they show that in the final 15 seconds, and then calling a foul when the whole entire thing was to review who was off.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Has that ever happened?
I've never seen this year in the playoffs it go from regular season basketball to playoffs basketball this quickly across the board. The amount of physicality. And I love it, but I've never seen it. It's just like it's like as soon as the playoffs started, it ramped up crazy. There wasn't any build up or anything. It's been wild. And Draymond Green, I come to the conclusion, and I'm a big Warriors fan. The only reason why he hasn't been suspended during these playoffs versus the Rockets is because the NBA wants to see Steph Curry make it as far as possible. Yeah. And without Draymond Green, Steph Curry won't do it. So I think Draymond Green, it clicked like, yo, I could do whatever I want out here because they want my guy to succeed. So he's like doing karate, jiu-jitsu. He's kicking people. He's curse, fuck you, fuck that. And like last night was insane what he was doing.
What's your take on the foul, the Knicks game 4, whatever?
It was a foul.
It was a foul, right?
But yeah, you
get away with something.
Hey, so,
Who gives a fuck?
So it happened.
How do you think the Knicks have a chance to go all the way?
No. We don't have a chance to go to. I'm concerned about our health. I'm concerned about too much workload being put on Jalen. That being said, we could get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
That'd be amazing.
If we mend and nothing happens, we could. I don't expect it. It could happen the way things are falling, but we still need another. We need some guys off the bench. Jalen is 6'3".
Yeah.
He's not 6'9", 250 like LeBron. He's not 6'6", 6'5" like Anthony. He's not a big dude. He can only do so much. But Ant was great. We've been good. We put the Pistons,
To the test.
got them in, put the screws to them.
Lakers, you think are done?
Yeah, Lakers are done.
That'll
They're
be a
done.
bust of a season with Luka. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're done.
What are your thoughts on the trade? To you, it's asinine, the Nico Harrison trade? Trading Luka if you're a Mavs?
I think trading him, knowing that you have Kyrie, and that Anthony Davis is so injury prone, I think it was a mistake. But Luka also has to. His game needs to evolve.
Yes.
It can't just be you could score buckets
I agree
because he's
with you
still not that
1,000,000%.
efficient. He still needs the rock in his hand, and he scores buckets. But are you doing anything to?
The biggest issue with Luka, in my opinion, is and this is why Nico Harris, everyone's shitting on him, and I get it. Of course, you still don't trade
And the way
him.
he carries himself is weird. Nico.
But the real, whatever, he's bad at PR, that's for sure.
Yes.
And also, you don't make that fucking trade. He's still a generational player. You still don't do that. For sure, not yet. But that's not the point. Luka and I have been watching more and more. The guy's a major liability on defense.
Oh.
The guy doesn't fucking play in the playoffs. You need to fucking
Right.
play
Everybody
defense to
plays
win.
defense in the playoffs.
Every single successful team that we have watched over the last 10 years for sure
100%.
is able to play lockdown
Yeah.
defense in the final 4 minutes. Stifling motherfucking
He
defense.
can't.
It's a 4
And
on
I
5.
don't think he doesn't try. I think he does try. I think he can't.
He needs to get in better shape. He needs to lose fucking 15 pounds.
I don't even know if that's it. I think he's in shape right now.
What the fuck does that mean? Why can't he play defense?
I don't think he
he's-
can play defense. I don't think he's not trying. There's things he could do to improve as a defensive player. He's not small. I think he can improve. He's never going to be able to he's never going to be Scottie Pippen. He's not quick enough. But I think there's things that he can
Limitation,
do.
You're saying to that?
Say it again.
There's a limitation to what he could do.
Defensively, but there's ways to improve
Yeah.
as a defensive player, and a team defensive player.
Where are you? I was just wondering, especially with sports. Where are you with Dave Portnoy these days? At odds still?
No, not at odds. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing went down.
No, I mean, say you guys are
I haven't seen him. I don't care. It's
as
nothing.
friends at this point?
Friends. No, I
friends.
haven't
Past that.
seen him. No.
No, but I mean, at least at this point, you guys are obviously on the same page with the whole Jewish,
Yes.
Even, what are your thoughts actually on celebrities who are Jewish that are too, I don't, I have to ask this because I'm curious, that are just too wussy to freaking,
It's been disappointing.
it is,
The
right?
celebrities, my business, the artists in general.
So many of them.
It has been disappointing it's been disappointing to see. It's been isolating, and especially in my business where people will speak out about everything, whether it's global warming,
Whatever fad is in.
anything, and I don't but smudge it or mock it, but to see nothing, not one person last year during the Golden Globes, Emmys, Academy Awards to at least wear a yellow ribbon, and to see other actors show up with the pin of a handprint celebrating the murderer, a terrorist murder with the handprint on them, and do that, and to see the silence except for when that Jonathan, whatever the guy who won the Academy Award, and then they applauded when he refuted his Judaism.
Yeah.
Was a
unbelievable.
career existential crisis for me. I was like, it took my breath away. Like I was like, that being said,
Has your father been like, I assume you speak to your father about what's going on now? Like, what's
Yeah.
his advice right now? Like, what does he tell you? Just keep doing what you're doing?
yeah, I mean,
He's probably proud.
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, my father's proud. My wife is proud, and I'm proud, and but I'm not. The way that I've articulated myself and behaved since October 7th was without any preconceived notion. A lot of people come up to me and say, you made a choice to say something. There was no choice. There was no. If you say something, you go in this door. If you don't say anything, you go in this door. It was a primal, visceral reaction.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely nothing to explain or apologize about in regards to that.
Let me ask you, cancel culture. You are very, very. People try canceling you. I feel like 100 times at this point. What is there something like certain people have mastered the ability to not be canceled?
Yeah.
Is there something in this space that people don't understand? Like, I'll give you
I haven't mastered it.
I feel like you've done a pretty good job. You're here
I'm
standing
here.
strong.
Yeah, I mean, but I haven't mastered it.
You know what just happened?
I have a tone. I have a.
I think the biggest mistake I just witnessed, which I was shocked about, PR mistake, was just happened with Shannon Sharp. I was amazed that.
Oh, well, shit.
No. The fact that he fucking walked away right now, I don't care for any amount of time, was the biggest fucking mistake of all time. You have to understand 2025, you have to fucking understand politics. You have to understand PR. I don't know who's giving him any directions, but if you learn one thing in 2025, you never fucking ever admit the shit. And you most definitely don't do it if you believe that you're 100% innocent and you're sitting there screaming about it. There's a famous term in Judaism. You actually learn it in the Talmud. It's a very, very famous, it's called sugya, which is like a 4 or 5 page like disagreement, which is what the Talmud is, just a bunch of rabbis arguing for all effective purposes, which is, the Hebrew term is shtika keoda. Silence is admittance. When you walk away, that is a form of silence. That's admitting. There's no, now if ESPN pushed him out, right? So then I hear that, but fuck that shit. Make ESPN fucking push you out. Let them be the woke people. We're especially now in a climate, okay, where people are sick of wokeism right now. Make them be the woke assholes that are pushing you out when you're sitting there denying it to the death. This is just a money grab from some hoe bag.
I
right?
agree.
And him walking away, the worst PR decision. Like that's nowadays you know what the greatest thing what I've watched and seen? I'm curious what your thoughts on this. The natural reaction that people do when something happens is to apologize in the media. Because they think, falsely, they think, that if they apologize, they're going to be forgiven. Let me tell you a little motherfucking secret. You're not going to fucking be forgiven if you apologize. That's not how this world works.
Not on social media.
You're not. If for sure the leftists, you're not going to be like the minute you apologize, they're like, oh, see, he did something wrong, and we're still not fucking forgiving you. You know, if forgiveness was an option, you could continue your career. It makes sense. Okay, fine. I do apologize. I apologize sincerely for whatever the hell it is. And now let me learn from it and grow. But that's not the outcome. Look at all the cases. And by the way, that's what Trump refused to do.
Yeah.
Would not fucking apologize because he actually understood this.
I totally. But I will say in regards to his first, like, I think it's okay to say, you know, I shouldn't say this, that, and the
he
third.
Went over.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, and that's why I was like, yo, you can say, you be a fucking grown man and say, you know what? Saying I like my war heroes not to be captured,
right? Not
a good thing.
Yeah. You can apologize to John McCain.
But also you're not, being the president is a different ball game.
I'm saying, well, not in his case, because he was fighting against the media that was intent on smearing.
That's what I'm saying. You have to lock and load and buckle down. So I get it. It's different than
especially there. Yeah. I'm just saying in general. I don't know. I've never seen in the PR game. That's why I was curious what your standpoint was on this.
I'm on Shannon Sharp or apologizing.
Just all this stuff. Like I was just referring to Shannon Sharp as an example, which I was watching, and I was just astounded that he freaking did that. It's an admittance of guilt.
It might have been a little bit of both. It might have been. I don't know. It might have been. You know, what do you think? Okay, you know, it's a distraction because he's still doing his YouTube stuff, and which is successful, and he's still at the draft and doing all that stuff. You know, so it might have been maybe both ends, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Have you ever been confronted, by the way? Like, obviously, you have your fights with Durant and...
Be confronted by what?
No, but anyone in general. Like, you've been embroiled, obviously, in controversy because you speak your mind, which is like, fucking awesome. Has anyone ever, like, have you ever had, like, in person, like, how do you manage those situations? Like, I assume have you seen Durant since?
Haven't seen Durant.
Really?
I mean, he ain't just walking around the streets.
No, but maybe you bumped into him.
I haven't bumped into him. If I bumped into him, I'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not. You know, out of all the people that I've had shit with, you know, I'm not physically intimidated by Kevin Durant. Although I'm not not saying that inside. I'm like,
yeah, you're not interested.
It is what it is. It's just, you know, like that thing happened and it was what it was, and you know, and then you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, the NBA now.
There's other people in the NBA that I'd be more concerned about having a confrontation with than Kevin Durant.
No, for sure. I just mean confronting like not physical.
There's always that. There's always that. You know, with
I'm talking
men,
about like when you're in public. I don't know, people coming in, like when you're walking down a street in New York and someone sees you.
You know, I'll tell you something. Knock on wood, in regards to anti-Semitism, anti-Jewish keffiyeh scarves, protesters. I haven't had one incident. Not one incident. And I'll tell you another thing. I haven't even seen one keffiyeh scarf in real life.
How's that possible then?
I don't know. I haven't had anybody approach me. I haven't had any cat calls.
So are we fighting about nothing? Like
No. You know, I'm just saying. I think that's Hashem looking after me. You know, I'm not going to these, these rallies and all that stuff because I know that I'm an inflammatory person at them and an inciting person at them. But I travel all over the countries. I'm in airports. I'm in comedy clubs. I'm in restaurants. I'm in Starbucks. In New York City, where I'm born, raised, where I live, I haven't had an incident. I haven't had an incident in real life in all the cities I've been to, Chicago, wherever I've been, and I'm I'm fortunate of that. I don't want that.
Yeah. What with the comedy stuff, right? You've been canceled there. It feels like a little bit, right? Some of your tours.
There's been some shows that have been canceled, but there's been shows that have been scheduled. And it's like there was what the sort of most talked about show that was canceled. It was outside of Dearborn, Michigan, which is not a hotbed for comedy. This is not a place where I feel like there's a lot of humor in general. So that show had to get rescheduled. I had a show in Chicago that got canceled. It was rescheduled. Did a great show out there. It's been, for me, it's been a lot of talk on social media, more so than in real life. And I like it that way.
Social media is a fucking cesspool.
I like it that way. So, there's been some incidents, where comedy clubs, they've taken precautions because the way they're canceling the threats go, they don't just say, we're going to protest Michael Rapaport. They've called the bartenders. They've called the managers. They've gotten on their social media accounts, and they've scared them to the point where the people at the club are like, we don't
need this headache. Yeah.
I'm a bartender. Yeah, I'm a waitress at the blah, blah, blah comedy club. And that's the way these scumbags do it. But fortunately, it hasn't stopped me from, doing my shows and working.
Thank God for that. New York City. Can we just talk about New York City for a second?
What about it?
I'm curious what your feelings are on the state of New York, because I'm getting so deeply fucking sick and tired of this place.
Which part of it? New York has always been flawed.
The forget about obviously the liberal politics of it, but there's just the quality of life. And I understand everyone's gonna ask me, why the fuck don't you just move, whatever. The answer is because all my friends are here, and realistically picking up your life and moving it somewhere else is a very difficult thing to do practically if you're settled somewhere. So now 3 of my siblings have done that and moved to Florida just because they were also pissed off.
And they're Jewish. All Jews will eventually wind up in Florida.
Yeah,
whether you plan to, not, you're going to wind up there
eventually anyways. No, it's true.
That's going to happen.
We should just buy real estate there. I should buy a thing there just because I'm end up being
at
there.
a bar mitzvah. You should be like, here's a condo.
Yeah.
Here's a condo. Instead of like
on
we're getting you a condo.
And Harding.
There's a condo.
100%. So, I mean, the traffic, you cannot.
Traffic is disgusting.
Tolls. I mean,
trash is shit.
The trash, they just made a thing. You can't throw out fucking food in the trash. Do you hear about this? You cannot throw food.
Yes.
We pay more money every year in taxes.
What is it called again?
Shit gets worse and worse. I don't fucking know.
I know. It's the me and my wife are, because in the building, in the apartment, what is it called? The compost.
Oh, the chutes? Oh, the compost. Yeah. No, but the city doesn't allow you anymore.
I know.
That's fucking nuts.
I know. I live in an apartment building. I love the people that are my workers in the building. But I'm like, I already separate. I'm a good, I separate recycling, all that stuff. Now you want me to take a chicken bone and put it in the third thing, and not, I gotta bring it down. Come on, man, what the fuck are we talking about here? I don't know if this is Hochul or Mayor Adams or somebody got to straighten this shit out.
They're all, the whole thing, speed cameras, red light cameras. Every time
the traffic is fucked up, man. It's always, but it's been, listen, New York has always been flawed.
Here.
Manhattan.
So you walk around probably. Do you even have a car? You have one. Okay.
Fine. I have one, but I don't drive it in New York.
Okay. So if you're trying to drive anywhere, when I say New York, I'm not just talking about Manhattan. I'm talking about 5 boroughs. You can't fucking get on the BQE.
Waste your
You
time.
can't get on the Van Wyck.
No.
It took me an hour and a half to get here from the 5
Horrible.
towns. Hour and a half.
Listen, this was a problem from the inception. I don't think there's any way to fix it. I think the crime in New York has always been shit. They need to hash down. If you put your hand on a cop, you shouldn't
20
be,
years.
You shouldn't be out of jail.
Minimum 20.
And you're not from this country. That fucking kid who they jumped the cop not too far from here, and then they get out, talk about Tupac, coming out like Tupac.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here? You know, I don't understand why. I actually had Mayor Adams on my podcast, and I asked him. I said, the masks at the you want to protest. How is it allowed that you could protest with masks?
Oh, yeah.
He said, Hochul. She don't want to do it. She don't want to fix it. I don't see how you could protest.
What's his name's going to become the mayor next? Most likely, I'd bet on it.
Cuomo?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I already knew for a year and a half that you were saying this was brewing clearly.
He's back.
No, they had to get rid of him. That's all that happened.
Yeah, but
There was no sexuality. It's all bullshit. They needed to get rid of him because of the COVID thing. He fudged
Emmy
numbers.
Award-winning governor.
Yeah,
This fucking guy.
whatever.
He won an Emmy.
Do you remember when he stood there? This was the craziest thing possibly I'd ever heard in my life from an elected official. Perhaps the most that God did not do this. I did this. Do you remember him saying? I have never heard in my life an elected official in America ever have the level of arrogance to fucking get up there and a disgrace to God's name. Like, it's oh my God, I could not believe
the one time
it.
I saw Cuomo, I saw him at a film
God
festival
didn't do
thing.
this, I did this. What the fuck?
He winked at me. Not in such a like a
Scummy way.
yeah.
Like
Come shake my fucking. I'm Michael Rapaport. You shake my fucking hand. You know who I am. To quote Kevin Durant, I'm Michael Rapaport. Don't fucking wink at me, motherfucker. Shake my fucking hand. Yeah, you know who I am. I know who you are. Don't wink at me.
Yeah.
It just sounds
Respect,
like you're winking at me. Like, what are you doing here?
He's I don't know. But to me, by the way, he got fucking his whole life fell apart 2 months later after his whole comment of standing over there.
He gave his Emmy back.
Oh, he
Remember
did?
he won-
Whatever it was. His whole life fell apart. But I think so now he's making his return. He's showing up, in New York.
Do something.
As a mayor.
Do
No,
better.
He's going to come back. But
Because Mayor Adams, it's too much. He didn't do it.
how's it changed since you were a kid, though, New York specifically? Better or worse? Because I wasn't around.
I mean, I
80s.
think it's better. But again, crime, dirt, trash, traffic has always been a thing here. People just want to be safe, and not. It shouldn't take 45 minutes to get from, the east side to the west side or from uptown to downtown. But I don't think I don't think that's fixable. You got to get the fucking train, man. Get on the fucking train. The Uber, the cab.
Our infrastructure here is a little bit pathetic.
Our infrastructure is
In America.
dog shit.
Yeah. Go to outside countries.
You go to Connecticut. I go to Connecticut a lot. I'm on these roads. You need an ATV. You need an off wheel. Forget an Uber. I mean, forget a Elon Musk. Forget a BMW. You need like a fucking all-terrain vehicle when you're on these things. The potholes and the, you don't know what's happening when you're on.
Try driving down the street here.
The FDR Drive.
It's fucking shit show.
You need to wear a helmet when you need like one of those like ATV things. Is that what it's called? You need one of those vehicles. The FDR Drive is abysmal, and there's always they're fixing it. They're fixing it. They have it. You go downtown, uptown. You go over 30 miles per hour. You're risking your life on that fucking thing. There's potholes. There's bumps. There's
graves right in the middle of
all sorts of and traffic in New York. If they're gonna do one thing, I don't like it because I'm a jaywalker. But you know what I would do something about these fucking delivery bikes. Yo, at least go with traffic. It's like a video game driving in New York. It's like some Grand Theft Auto shit. Just people popping in.
Yeah.
Old people with walkers. They come out with the walk. There's all sorts of shit. Bikers, skateboarders, roller skates. It's crazy driving in New York. It's unlike anywhere else. LA's nothing. Not in terms of traffic, but in terms of there's no like texting and driving. You're putting everybody at risk doing that in New York City.
Yeah, I just feel like the Van Wyck. I don't know if you spend any time in there. They're always doing a project for 20 years.
20.
By the time they finish the fucking 20-year project, they need to start again because
Yeah.
the first part of the project
it's upgrade- it
is
needs to
so
be upgraded.
goddamn long ago. Bro, I've never ever outside. Michael, I say this in sincerity. Why I live in the Five Downs, the only way to get here is through the Van Wyck, right? That's what brings you out of the Five Downs. Take the Cross Island, but that's not really. If you want to go through Queens or anything like that, you need to take the Van Wyck. Outside of the hours of 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.,
That's it.
I guarantee you are sitting in fucking bumper to bumper
Yeah,
traffic.
it's too much.
It's like it's such a nightmare.
It's brutal.
It's yeah. Anyways,
But I think New York has always been a flawed place. I think that, you know, there should not be crime. I think that if you have a gun, you should not come out of jail.
yeah.
Like, you know, the it girl of the Republican Party, George Santos.
If you have a gun,
No. George Santos.
what about him? Yeah.
They're giving this poor bastard 7 years. You beat up a cop, boom, nothing.
Yeah.
You carry a gun, you're
Santos should get 7 years, but they should fucking get 25.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not that I give shit about, gorgeous George Santos, but I'm saying it's like, you know, when there's violence, if you're violent anything, you should not be walking the streets in the greatest city of New York. Period.
Anywhere for that matter, but yes.
But not in this city. This the quote unquote greatest city in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you put your hand on cops, you put your hand on a woman.
If you're a danger to society,
You need to learn your lesson, especially if you're gonna throw away gorgeous George Santos and shit like that. I used to break his fucking balls, man. Gorgeous George.
gorgeous George. I have to ask you. I got to talk acting for a second. Did you know? First of all, what was your favorite TV show you've ever acted in?
My favorite TV show I've ever acted. I don't have a favorite one. You know, I loved. I did a show, Only Murders in the Building, recently. I had a ball doing that with Steve Martin and Martin Short. I love that character. For me, it's, you know, there's no favorite. You know, like it's really what I take away is the experience. It's true. You know, so like when I worked with Only Murders in the Building to throw down, and that character was nasty, and I'm cursing at Selena Gomez, and I'm cursing at Steve Martin, and you know, and Martin Short. That was a ball. You know, obviously, you know, there's other things. You know, Atypical. I love doing that show. The great Jennifer Jason Leigh. You know, I did 4 episodes of Friends. No one would have thought, including the people on Friends, that people would still be talking about every scene, every line from Friends. You know, David Schwimmer.
What a
It's like the Brady Bunch.
what an honor, right? To be 4. That's
Of course.
It's an iconic show.
But you know, like there's like 10-year-olds that come up to me, oh my God, you're from Friends. And I'm like, yeah, and they like that, you know, like the show, and then like, what do you do now? I'm like, motherfucker, like, you know, like you only just, you know, but because the show's like, it's literally just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But you know, all the things that I've gotten to do, I have never taken a day for granted. I love what I do. I love acting.
Did you not enjoy Prison Break?
Prison Break was a pain in the ass.
Really?
I'm gonna be honest with
Why? You know this is the #1
I know.
Orthodox Jewish guy show.
you. It's unbelievable.
People have told you this.
Yes.
The #1. That in 24. But Prison Break was every Orthodox yeshiva kid with a yarmulke.
Love Prison Break. Worldwide. International.
What, you're saying Jewish Orthodox? You're saying? Yes.
No. That show was a
Period.
huge
Yeah.
success worldwide. Israel. When I'm in Israel, Prison Break.
But I'm referring specifically.
Why is that?
The
Why do the
yeshiva
That's the
kids-
question of the podcast. Why do the Orthodox Jews love the show
I'll tell
Prison
you why.
Break?
I'll tell you why. I think I have the answer. And they love 24 as well. But Prison Break, 24 started first, and then Prison Break came.
It's like
with
some
the new
massage
thing.
shit. It's like Fauda.
It's smart.
Right.
It's someone who is a step ahead.
Yes.
The whole
yes.
show
yes.
is about breaking out.
Yes.
It's literally a Jewish brain.
Yes.
It's how do I take the next step?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Well-
if you're gonna have some fucking show about whatever it is, okay, fine. It's
Yes,
going to
yes,
watch
yes.
Chicago PD, whatever it is.
That
fine.
makes sense.
That is like you know, like the #1 scene that is most like talked about right away was
My
it's
scene?
Chachma. It's
My
Chachma.
scene.
It's wisdom. Of course, your scene.
But the #1 scene for Prison Break, aside from my scene,
aside from your scene, correct.
But just say that. Of course, when you talk about Prison Break, you think about anything with Michael Rapaport, Agent Don Self. But anything other than that is what?
I don't honestly. By the way, I watched the show so long ago. I just remember what people would talk about at this point. The one where Schofield, in order to get the code, he put the
Never
powder,
saw it.
He put the powder on the keypad or something, so that this way. Oh no! I'm sorry. He got the tattoo of everything on his body.
Right.
That was the thing. And I was like, every guy was like, "Wow, this is unbelievable."
Yeah.
Like,
I never saw an episode of the show.
are you serious?
Never watched it.
Why?
Well, by the time I was doing it, I think we were on our last legs. The show was, and it was an arduous. It was. When you say what I didn't like about it, I love some of the actors I worked with. I love the writer, this guy Nick Santora, who was one of the writers. I loved all the writers. I loved Bill Fichtner. I loved the actors. The thing that was arduous about it was where we would shoot. See, this is when you say you take away the experience. It's like I'd have to you're like in Long Beach, so like you wake up at like 3. You talk about traffic, and you're in Long Beach for the day.
Beach. We're Long Beach in
California,
Long Beach.
not Long
Just
Beach, the
clarifying.
5, Long Island. So like, or you're shooting and you're gonna, do a stunt and, and you're in, I don't know where the fuck I was, but that's the thing that was challenging. But it's a blessing that people love the show. And if I'm at a border, the border police love Prison Break.
Yeah.
So I cut that fucking line.
Wow.
Cut that fucking line, man.
I love that.
And I'll go up there and be like, you ever see Prison Break? Oh, yeah. I'm like, come on, man.
me.
The fucking line's here.
That's so unbelievable. You don't normally watch your own work?
No, I do.
So this one you didn't watch?
Prison Break, I didn't watch.
Wow, it's so good. Maybe it sounds like a part of you.
I got to watch it on Netflix, although I don't get paid, even though it's on Netflix.
You don't get the royalties for that?
We get something.
Bullshit you're saying overall. It didn't, it was, what was it, 4 seasons in the end?
I think they did 5.
They did 5? I don't remember. That was a great show.
But the people on it were fun, for the most part.
Wow. Michael, I want to say thank you. Are you working on some good stuff coming up now?
Well, I'm doing show. When is this going to air?
This is airing Monday.
All right. So I'm doing a show. What I'm doing next, I'm going to be in Connecticut performing. I'm going to be in Albany performing. Tickets are available to come see me live at michaelrapaportcomedy.com. And I'm actually, I'll tell you something.
Please.
I actually started working on a documentary about my sort of journey, what I've seen, how it's affected me, how it's affected my family since October 7th.
Sorry to interrupt you. I know people are going to be very upset if I don't ask one thing. Could you just talk very quickly to your religious? You're becoming you're putting on tefillin every day. I feel like it's or at least a bunch of days. You're like, it seems like you went from not even being very religious at all to now really embracing a little bit that spiritual side. All October 7th, just post that.
I mean, it was a culmination of things to October 7th. But yeah, I mean, and as far as what do you mean? Like, I'm here. I am Jewish, and I am a proud Jew. I am a proud Zionist, and I want through all of it. And there are a lot of highs and lows through every day. This time is just never forget that we are going nowhere and Israel's going nowhere. Period.
Love it.
That's the most important thing. And give yourself a break when you need to take a break, because it's all hands on deck, and it's exhausting, and it's challenging, and it's upsetting, and it's frustrating, it's overwhelming. But it's all hands on deck, because when one of us is hurting, we're all hurting.
Yeah, I love that. That's a very true point.
Documentary.
Yeah, back to the documentary. I'm sorry about that. I just
no,
wanted
that's
to
all right.
know.
No, so we're started editing a documentary. It's called "Am I Canceled Yet?" About my sort of journey,
Evolution
through this time. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that.
When is that?
I
expect
want
that to
it to be
finished?
ready to go for Oscar season in 2026.
Wow.
Because
Probably an exciting project.
yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited. It's a challenge making a documentary, but it's exciting.
So wait a second. The shows that are coming up
Yes,
specifically,
comedy live.
where you said Albany?
I'll be in Connecticut, the Funny Bone, and I'll be in Albany at the Funny Bone. Tickets are available at michaelrapaportcomedy.com.
What dates?
May 15th, I'll be in Connecticut, and May 16th and 17th, Albany at the Funny Bone. Are there Jews in Albany? There's got to be Jews in Albany.
I have no fucking clue.
Not that my shows are all just,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Albany. I'll be honest, no idea.
nobody knows. But I heard apparently they got good food up there.
Apparently, it's our
It's the capital city,
capital
man.
of New York State.
Show it some respect. Fucking capital.
It's actually
of New
pretty
York.
crazy when you drive an hour away from here to see the difference in what the rest of New York State looks like versus New York City. It all of a sudden fucking becomes
It's a different
Wyoming.
thing.
Yeah, totally different game.
Albany's a different ball game, but it'll be fun.
And Michael, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. I mean, first of all, I had a wonderful time. Really
Thank you.
enjoyable time. Thank you for making time. I know
Appreciate
you have a very
it.
busy
My
schedule.
pleasure.
I'm sure people are going to enjoy this. I had a fucking awesome time. So that's first of all. Guys, once more, the legendary Michael Rapaport. big time New York player. No questions about that. I Am Rapaport, stereo podcast, and Rapaport's reality podcast, both that can be found where? Spotify,
Where you listen to
YouTube.
podcast. You know what my Rapaport's reality podcast is, right?
What is it about specifically?
Which I would say it's niche, but the people who like it. Me and my wife, all we do on Rapaport's reality is discuss reality TV.
Oh, yeah,
We love reality TV. Love it. Probably more than ever.
Didn't you get into trouble with Bravo, like with one of the housewives or some shit?
No, that's the internet.
Years ago,
I
some
love
shit.
the housewives. They love me. I love Bravo. They love me.
doesn't love
TLC, love it. But that's Rapaport's reality. Break it down. It's like, you know how they like Shaq, Charles, Kenny?
Yeah.
Me and my wife do that.
Oh, you break it down.
Real Housewives of Atlanta, Potomac, Summer House, all of it. Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Golden Bachelor, to the bone, bone. We love it.
That's great. Okay, that's actually pretty funny. It's
a good time.
I'm not a reality TV person, but I feel like
Your loss.
I am. It is, right?
It's
I
your
know,
loss.
but I feel like, listen, I'll tell you something. I have no doubt that anyone who is a reality TV person, if they're watching your post-game show, will absolutely fucking die.
We have a good time.
I'm sure. I do not doubt that for a second. Michael, thank you so much. Really.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace and love. On to the next episode. Thanks.